Hey guys, how are we doing? Crypto Insight UK here, bringing you back another video. So, I hope everyone's doing alright after yesterday. I covered as much of it as I could in one video. Things aren't as bad as they seem, they never are. I'm going to get into a few little things regarding the macro, really short touch on that because I don't think you guys are that interested in it, but I'd like to keep you updated with everything that's going on. And then we're going to talk about Bitcoin a little bit because I think that leads the market, and then we're going to talk about XRP specifically. I'm going to try and focus a lot on XRP in this video today because we've finished a wave count, as far as I think anyway. So anyway, quickly touching on the macro, this is the Nikkei, so the Japanese stock market essentially. We had a nice bounce yesterday after the lows, taking us all the way up to 13% higher from the lows, and currently sitting about 8% higher from the lows that were put in yesterday. Also going to look at the USD versus JPY if I can find it. I'm super tired this morning. I don't know what's wrong with me. I just feel one of those days, you just feel exhausted. So that's just me today. So my brain's not quite on. So, one thing I want to just quickly touch on with the Nikkei. There was one thing I wanted to touch on with this just quickly before we go on to the USD JPY. That was that actually the RSI here has made an equal low on the 4 hour, and the price has obviously created a much lower low here. So that would actually be a bullish divergence. It's not a strong bullish divergence because we'd like to see a higher low, but it is still a bullish divergence, an equal low, and a lower low in price. It shows that basically the sellers are running out of steam, or that the momentum is going to start to swing because the momentum hasn't actually managed to break any lower, even though price has broken a lot lower. So with that being said, we're going to quickly look at the USD JPY, and as you can see, that's also had a bit of a bounce. We created a lower low there on the 4 hour RSI. If you look at, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that, guys. Wow, today's not my day in terms of I don't know what's going on with my body. I'm just exhausted. Boxing last night, just getting old, I guess. Anyway, looking at the USD JPY, really oversold on the daily. We talked about this before. Probably the most oversold that I think it is the most oversold that the USD JPY has ever been. There's talk this morning that about 60% of the yen carry trade has unraveled so far, so we could have a little bit further to come in the yen versus the dollar. Let's see, and if that translates into markets, let's see as well. So that's why I wanted to cover that, because that's what's happening on the macro that is affecting our assets, and there might be a little bit more to come essentially, which is kind of what I've been expecting. I've told you guys about this. I thought that we might have a bit further to go, but before we get into it, the fear and greed index, and right now is 17 extreme fear. This is great in terms of where bottoms are normally formed. They're formed in extreme fear. Cool, looking for a reversal. How might a reversal look? Well, we've talked about this a few times. I posted a long tweet about it yesterday, so go and check that out if you didn't actually manage to check that. So let me just quickly show you that tweet, because I want to just clarify something, because I actually did work last night when I typed it out. So we've seen large volume stepping in today. Bulls are absorbing sell pressure. This is a good sign. Next, we have a large drop in open interest, whilst again turning negative on the 4 hour. Whilst funding is turning negative on the 4 hour. This means you're being paid a premium to hold a long position. There are more shorts than long in the market, basically. Finally, we can see spot volume is really high. This is great. It means that people are buying the asset itself, meaning buying Bitcoin itself, not on leverage. Building a good foundation or support level here, sucking up tokens, fueling for an explosive rally. So people are accumulating basically at a spot level. That's great. It means that supply is being spread out to a lot of different people, rather than it being like a leveraged entity that are just trying to roll as many Bitcoin into one position as they can. And when will we know if it's time, basically, for the explosive rally? Well, when we see structures like this, we often get one more flush out, liquidating any late longs. We would hope this would also create bullish divergence on the RSI, looking for a higher low on the RSI while price creates a lower low. This means obviously that momentum is back to the upside, even though price continued to have one more flush out. That's why we look for something like that. Another option is we keep absorbing supply here, create a lower low and push out this region. This is where I made a mistake, because I actually meant the other option is we keep absorbing supply here, create a higher low and push out this region. So I made that path there. I made these two paths. One that comes makes a higher low and sends, one that comes and makes a lower low and sends. The second option is the higher low, but I accidentally wrote lower low. I wasn't paying enough attention. This is fine too, but I'm always conscious of a flush out in this case. It's harder to nail this one because of that reason. Often in a pattern like this, we get some awful news or narrative that would show up and show that sellers were exhausted on the bad news. So what do you expect is this bounce that we're getting right now. Then the higher low would come in, and we wouldn't break the lows, but we might see something here like, I don't know what the news might be. I don't want to say too much on here, maybe like the Iran war escalates or something like that, but it doesn't manage to set a lower low in that situation. I don't mean that specifically. It doesn't have to be that news. It could be anything. It could be the USA or Kamala Harris decides to sell Bitcoin or anything along those lines, but doesn't help us make a lower low. Where the news comes out at the bottom and then we push up from there. That would be where I'd like to see a confirmation of a higher low. Either way, the bulk of the selling is over in my opinion. If you're a holder, DCA in here is great if I'm right, but it might take a little while to play out. The bulls will be back and we'll be at all-time highs before you know it. I completely stick with that. Liquidations, I mean, liquidity is completely in line with what I'm talking about here. There is that opportunity for a lower low here that could take us down to like 46, 45k, flushing out this liquidity. We had a lot of leverage get flushed out yesterday. You can see a lot of longs flushed out, which is great. We had that bounce that we're talking about there. So on that velo chart, we'll get that open in a second. In fact, we'll get it open now. Look, the bounce has nearly come back to exactly where I thought it would. That's because of these levels here. Let me just get rid of this. Look right into this grey box. Use that as some resistance. Maybe then create a lower low. It is quite a move down from here to create a lower low, especially if we go to like 45k, which I'm talking about. It's still a 20% move. This could happen on any sort of narrative, like I said, like war, or I don't know what the narrative would have to be to do this. Maybe the 40% extra unraveling on the yen carry trade could create that lower low, really flush the leverage down, get rid of all these longs, and then we head up from there towards all-time highs. That is my thinking, and that is nothing's changed in terms of that. But you can see quite clearly there's a lot of leverage. Put it on the hourly, I think everything changes. I don't know if this is going to help too much. This was the original pattern that I thought that we might get, but again, it's quite similar in a sense, because you get a low, you bounce, and then you set that lower low before you then go higher towards all-time high. The reason I talked about this specific structure is because I thought we could set a higher low here for Bitcoin when we were there. I did also talk about the fact that we could very easily see the lows swept because of how much leverage. And then when I updated yesterday or a few days ago, basically saying that as we came down, the leverage hadn't flushed out, or the open interest hadn't flushed out. So I was more cautious. So now we started to get that open interest flush. That's the structure I'm looking for Bitcoin. So that's why I'm going to now talk about XRP. XRP looks very similar, but also very different in a lot of ways. XRP's got a lot of negative funding. This on the 4 hourly, meaning a lot of people are short. In the last 4 hours, more people have started to come into long positions, but we've had a complete flush out, basically, in open interest for XRP, and also some spot buying yesterday as we came into those lows. This is the sort of structure, if you just remember the Bitcoin chart that I've just shown you, this is where I was sort of saying, if this was Bitcoin, it could hold that higher low. This is kind of showing me that XRP is showing signs of strength. So if we had that pattern play out for Bitcoin that I had as a question mark, basically, one of my potential scenarios, where's my pen? Let me show you. This is what it would have looked like. So we would have come down from here. We would have come into this area here, bounced, held that higher low, bounced up, bang, down, obviously out, something along those lines. We didn't get that. However, with XRP, this would be, let me find a bit of a cleaner chart so I can just show you. Let me try and find an XRP clean chart so I can show you the structure of what I'm talking about. And I think that that's important, because I just think that people don't understand a lot of the time when I'm trying to explain my charts, and like the structures are pretty similar across. Well, I don't know what is going on with my trading different here. The structures are pretty similar across like every chart. So let's have a little look at. I'll use the XRP market cap. That'll be fine. So this is what we would have been looking for here for Bitcoin. Let me find the rectangle now. This is the area that we would have wanted to create a higher low in. So here, like that. So you see exactly how XRP has done this. This is the sort of thing that I'd be looking for now with XRP after a completed wave structure. So there's two options here. We've obviously hold this higher low. Where's my brush? We hold this higher low here, which would be nice. Or, like Bitcoin, we come up, we come down, we chop around in here, we absorb some supply, and then we start to break out and we look for that next impulsive wave. So how does that look in my wave count? I hope this makes sense to you guys, because I'm just trying to explain the complete breakdown of like how I look at the charts and what I think about when we look for these structures. These are looking for like bottoming structures now. Wave counts played out quite nicely. We talked about this. It did come down further than I thought it would. I said between 46 and 48, but I actually had on my chart drawn in. No, sorry, I said between 48 and 52, but I actually had from 46 drawn in on my chart, and we came down to 42. Again, we could come lower than this, and we would be looking for, let's take it on the larger time frames, like the daily, for example. If we did come lower, let's say, I wouldn't really want to breach this line too much, but if we did come lower, it would be nice to see a lower low on the RSI and a higher low in price action, again creating that bullish divergence, meaning that the sellers had basically run out of steam. They could have run out of steam already on XRP. Like, I do think that that's a possibility, but I don't want to put any eggs in that basket at the minute. This wave count's played out as far as I'm concerned. We're then looking to absorb some more supply before waiting to see for an impulsive move. So we're basically waiting now to see what the markets are going to tell us, and then we'll identify the wave patterns going forwards after that. So what that might look like is, just as I said, chopping around in this area, maybe making a slightly lower low. As the RSI comes and makes a higher low, for example, chops around, makes a higher low, and bounces out, and then bounces out. That's the sort of thing we could be looking for, a scenario. If we have like a V-bottom recovery, we could come down, make a low in here, start to bounce, and start to see that impulsive wave structure. Again, we're looking for the start of a wave 3 of a larger 5-wave move, which looks more like this. Let's see if I can show you that. I've got it drawn in here. So wave 1 that we've seen, wave 2, wave 3 hopefully takes us up towards over $1. It'd be awesome if it took us as far out as 130. Wave 4 brings us down to the top of this previous range that tops out about 75-76 cents, and then wave 5 takes us up towards the previous highs from 2021, which is about $2, I think. That would be the sort of thing that I'm looking for. That's why I'm so super focused on XRP price action at the minute. But here, we've completed the first wave. We probably look to accumulate or suck up some more supply, and then hopefully continue for our third wave. We've completed first wave, second wave, and looking for our third wave start for continuation in price action. But again, just depends on what Bitcoin wants to do here, what the narratives are. There's a lot going on in the world of finance. Yesterday, there's going to be a lot of macro institutions under pressure. Probably might have to unwind some assets today. Maybe took some loans yesterday. Like, we don't know the repercussions of yesterday. The VIX being where it was yesterday, the highest level since C19. And let's have a look. VIX is still high at 28. It went all the way up to 36. So it was one of the biggest breakouts yesterday, like in history, basically. And it's not the greatest one. Let's have a look. Volatility index. Yeah, sorry, that's better. It went all the way up to what, 66. The time before that, when we had anything like that, was C19, and there was one other time a bit further back in history. I think this was maybe in 2008 was the time before that when we really had a good spike. Yeah, so it basically came as high. It was the third highest we've ever seen, the volatility index. So let's see. Like, I think there'll be some repercussions. We've got to wait to see if any bodies float to the surface, which is a common like terminology after something like this. Is there any legacy institutions, banks, whatever, who are underwater that are going to come to the surface? I don't know. Could any of these things cause a further sell-off in crypto? Yes, of course. could crypto's bleed be done? Yes, of course. But now we wait for indications from the market to tell us what is coming next. Again, if you're just a buyer, you're not a trader, buying spot at these prices isn't awful. If you get a pullback towards the 45-cent range, great, I'll be scooping up. Could we have a lower low potentially? Yes. Would I want to break these lows here? Not really. It would show more strength, obviously, there for XRP if we didn't lose those lows. Finish off looking at XRP against Bitcoin. We obviously pulled all the way back down here yesterday, pushed back up above and closed above the line that I said is the first key level to break again. And we still look to be forming that pennant. Pennants can happen in waves 2s and wave 4s of Elliott wave structure. So that could be wave 1, wave 2 in the pennant, and then wave 3 again. Similar to what we're talking about in versus the US dollar. Could take us up towards this resistance here. That would be cool. Against Ethereum, looking very strong. Bullish confirmation above this box. We're back inside the range that I talked about against Ethereum. I hope you follow my work, so I don't have to explain this every time we come on. But again, I would be expecting this sort of outperformance, 80%-ish for XRP against Ethereum in the coming few weeks. And these happen pretty quickly, these days of massive outperformance. I do think we are verging on a big catalyst for XRP, whatever that might be, maybe a Judge Torres decision or something along those lines, and see some XRP outperformance. Let's have a look at XRP dominance just before we leave. We are struggling, last I checked, to break above a key resistance support level. Old support, now resistance. Still struggling with it. We're just below it. We're banging ahead on it. We're banging ahead on it. We're banging ahead on it. A lot of volume coming in. Can we see the RSI cross bullish as we start to try and break through this key XRP dominance resistance level? And then we're looking good to try and break out of this downtrend. Obviously, clearly can see we've broken the recent downtrend from November 23 to now. We've clearly broken that. We've hopefully bottomed out here, and the future is hopefully looking good. Nothing is completely confirmed, but we are starting to look great for XRP, starting to really consider that these sort of targets are an option again if we do break out of these downtrends. We've obviously put in a clear bottom here, that can't really be argued right now, but we haven't broken yet our key resistance level. The break of this on the dominance would be huge. That is where you can start to get much more bullish for XRP. You're probably going to break up, come down, potentially test it, and then hopefully send it up towards here. And again, these moves happen very fast. We just need to monitor when they might be. Everything's day by day at the minute. I'll keep updating you as I get more information from the markets and we get more information in general. It's probably time to just be accumulating spot. I'm not really leveraging anything at the minute. I'm pretty much sitting in spot in whatever I'm sitting in. Mainly XRP, as you guys know. I think I'm 90% XRP. I've got some Flare. I've actually got a little bit of ETH, and I've got a bit of a token called Space Mesh, but I'm not promoting any of those. Just how it's happened in my portfolio. Mainly XRP and Flare, actually. So let's see what happens. If you've got any questions, guys, please let me know in the comments. If you want me to cover anything specifically. I did talk about Chainlink this morning on Twitter, because I think it's just wicked into a lovely area for entry, and it was one of the leaders in the last alt push, basically. So yeah, interesting. I hope I made a lot of sense. I didn't make too little sense today. I don't know what I'm saying. So my brain is just absolutely not with it today. I think I'm maybe getting a cold, exhausted from boxing, not been sleeping well, but actually slept pretty well last night, so that might be why. I'll shut up now anyway. Peace up, A-Town down, as Crypto Insight UK would say. Thank you for tuning in.